What's up, people? I am back for another video. I can't believe I've not reviewed Scary Movie. For some reason, I thought I have reviewed those movies, but I guess I haven't. So I'm gonna do all of them, even including the shitty fifth one. So the plan is I'm doing this one. I'm probably not gonna do any more videos for the rest of the week unless I could get an idea. If I do, it's gonna be like a discussion video. It probably really quick, I know this is not a political channel, but I just want to say this publicly. It's part of the reason I haven't done a video in a couple days. R.I.P. Charlie Kirk. I know it's not a political channel, but I just kind of had to get that out there. But anyway, so if I do a video this weekend, it will probably be like a discussion video. It won't be any like reviews until probably next week. The first Scary Movie. I remember watching this not long after I watched the first Scream. It just, in my opinion, this is up there, like maybe top 10 comedies of all time. The first Scary Movie is so good. The way I think it also did a good job. Well, it was a parody, but it still felt like its own movie because it was those early day of parody movies when they actually still had a plot, yeah, where they parodying another movie, but it still felt like its own plot. Whereas, unfortunately, a lot of the later parody movies, when you got to like the mid to late 2000s, is when you started getting a lot of like just, in my opinion, very much just it was all references. It just started being references. Oh, here's this reference, here's this reference, here's this reference. It wasn't like a movie. Whereas like the first Scary Movie, even epic movie, well, not epic movie, I meant to say I like Meet the Spartans. That's probably one of the late, it's superhero movie. Those are probably like the only two from the later ones, but those first few Scary Movies were great. What made the first one work is I thought it did a good job at parodying Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and a lot of the other references in it are just great. I mean, the opening scene with Carmen Electra, where I thought they did a really good one. They got a house that looked very much like the house, Casey's house from the first Scream. I thought they did a really good job with that. I love, just that whole opening scene is just hilarious. He's black and he'll kick your ass. And then the Ghostface parody. I love when he's chasing her, he pulls her clothes off and she starts running through the sprinklers and does a model pose. It was fucking great. And then he stabs her, he pulls out a fucking, because she had a boob job. It's like, it pulls out one of her implants. It's fucking great. The first Scary Movie is just such comedy genius. Anna Faris, it sucks that she kind of disappeared because I thought if I had to say like, funny women, she's up there. I love Anna Faris in these movies. I think the first four is the most consistent character in all the movies. I love her as Cindy Campbell. And I thought the way they blended Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer was perfect because there was the scene where you have like if you remember the first Scream, they're at the fountain, everybody's talking. You kind of have that scene, but then they talk about the story where they hit some guy, and that's when you get the I Know What You Did Last Summer parody. And then the whole gag with Ray, which is that's Sean Wayans. His character is that he's gay, but he doesn't know it because he obviously, because even in the end when you get to the reveal, I ain't gay. It's like, even though throughout the movie that is the gag, is he is gay. Like in the car, he plays a tape. He has a Bobby play a tape, and it's fucking raining men, and they all just look at him. And then when they hit the guy, and then you have um, Shannon Elizabeth's character's boyfriend, who I reckon he's in a couple of movies. He's in Freddy vs. Jason. He was in this. Usually kind of plays the douchey guy, and he was Ryan Philippe's role basically from I Know What You Did Last Summer. I thought he did a good job. The scene where he beats up Cindy, and he does like a backbreaker. It's like, what the fuck? And then going back to that scene when they hit the guy, And he goes off, the dude goes off about Ryan Philippe. I'll just call him Ryan Philippe. Team of Ryan Philippe in this movie. He's saying like how much they're gonna how prison's bad and that these men want to touch us. Basically, imply prison rape and fucking Sean's character is like, oh, Ray, that's the character. I don't know why I blinked his name out. Ray is like, maybe we should call the police. It's just like, that is the whole. And then you have like his introduction. Does this shirt make me look gay? How about now? And then he like fucking. Oh man, it is perfect. Ghostface is great. You got fucking Marlon, Shorty, Shorty is great in this movie. Obviously, his whole gag is he's a stoner, and you get the iconic "What's up?" scene, or the scene when he's smoking with the killer. I love that shit, man. Like, it's paced perfectly. I think the jokes they throw at you are good, but they don't fucking just come out with it where it just gets annoying. Because there's some movies, and especially a lot of parody movies, the later ones, where they just try to shit out jokes in a row, and it just gets annoying, and it's not funny. So you get they're not funny, but you're also shitting them out. I liked how in the first one, even 3, I think, had this balance too, where it still treated itself as a movie, but you had jokes. And then you have obviously from I Know What You Did Last Summer, What Are You Waiting For? You have Cindy going, what are you waiting for, huh? And then you got the fucking principal on the roof who's about to kill himself. He's like, what am I waiting for? Fuck you. Cindy's just like, oh shit. It's like perfect gags, man. I think why this movie works too is it's, like I said, it's paced well. It's not a really long movie. It's like an hour and a half. But I think they do a good job of also recreating the scenes from Scream. And I Know What You Did Last Summer. You have the scene, remember, in Scream, where it's Sydney talking to Billy about how she framed him for being the killer, and then she runs off. You have that scene, but it's about Cindy's going off about the Spice Girls, Ginger leaving the Spice Girls. And even before that, you had Bobby. He's basically Billy, but Bobby. Come back from prison, and then you had a guy from prison come in like, you're the best. I remember as a kid never really understanding the context. When I watched it when I was like, oh. Yeah, man, the first Scary, it's just, I don't want to go too long about this. I'm going to obviously eventually get into the review part, but it's just such a perfect movie. I love, and man, what they do to Dewey, man, Doofy. Special efforts of Doofy. It's like, god damn, why'd you have to do Dewey like that? And then you get the ending with the Usual Suspects ending, basically, where he's faking being a retard, basically. And it turns out he was the killer. You even got because this was 2000, you had a Blair Witch joke in there with Gail Hailstorm, which that's Gail Weathers. I love that character. I thought she was funny. You also had a Matrix joke in the end of the movie where they made you think, oh, Bobby was the actual killer and Ray were the actual killer, obviously parodying Billy and Stu, but no, they weren't. They get killed by the real killer. I'll just say Doofy. They get killed by Doofy, basically. And then him and Cindy have a fight scene, and she does this jump kick, which is clearly from The Matrix. So, but it's just a great movie, man. I love the first Scary Movie, and I'm shocked I've actually not reviewed it. I thought I have reviewed it for this channel, but I guess not. So I figure, why not? I'll get back to Naked Gun. I only got 2 more movies to do. I'll eventually get back to them. I'm probably gonna, it may be a while. I might do them after October, because clearly we're going to be going in October. Maybe in a few weeks I'll do Naked Gun 2 at least, and then I'll save the 3rd one. But right now, yeah, we'll definitely do the Scary Movie films. Even 5, which I have actually watched. I haven't watched the whole thing, but I've watched a condensed version. And just from the bit I saw, man, it's fucking terrible. I'm like, there's a reason I skipped this one. But yeah, we'll actually sit down and watch it since we're just going to go through the franchise. Why not? But other than that, like I said, I'm probably not gonna do a video. I will be doing stuff still this weekend because speaking of which, tonight for Pin Down, we are gonna be watching SmackDown plus AAA's Worlds Collide, which will be after SmackDown. So look out for that stream. And then we should also be streaming tomorrow for our normal Pin Down episode. And then Sunday, me, Cowman, and I think Gigawatt, and then obviously and Mr. T, we will be doing. I think Cowman at least should be there. I don't know if Gigawatt will be, but we will be reviewing Happy Gilmore 2. So look out for that. So I will be still doing stuff this weekend, and there's a chance if, like I said, if I do a video, it is probably just gonna be a discussion, just because I don't plan on watching anything right now to review. So, but more than likely, yeah, probably no video. But I will be still doing stuff on Cowman Reviews / Pin Down, so look out for that. But anyways, let's get into a scary movie. Oh, I should mention, funny enough, if you look up the original name for the first Scream, it was going to be called Scary Movie. So they decided to take the title and just make it a parody. Which I love, by the way. I think that was a funny way to do it. Anyway, let's get into the movie. Oh, it opens. Kind of like I said, it opens like the first Scream. You know, kind of like, what's your favorite scary movie? Do they ever say Casey's name? I'm just gonna call her Casey because I don't think they actually say Carmen Electra character's actual name in the movie. So I'm just gonna call her Casey. And it's kind of like similar to I think they really did it. They got a house that pretty much looks like it honestly looks like the house from the first Scream. Even Cindy Campbell's house looks a little bit similar. Not obviously not the exact same, but it looks somewhat similar to Sydney's house. So I think they did a good job of kind of with the sets, and I really kind of want to give appreciation to that. Because I know this is like a comedy, it's more about the jokes and stuff, but I really want to appreciate that they did kind of make it, like, even the road, which is not hard to do, it's probably just an actual road they use, but even the road, but even the way it was shot, they shot it like I Know What You Did Last Summer. Like, even the way it was shot, the filter, whatever they used, I think they really did a good job of making making these movies like kind of the same set design. So Casey gets a call. She mentions Kazam as her favorite horror movie, and then obviously kind of like in the actual film, the killer starts threatening her. And he's like, I want to see what your insides look. Turn to page 40. He's like, nice breast. It's so good. And then she hears a doorbell, and she runs to it, and then she gets, she ends up swinging a bat, and she ends up beating the shit up what you think is the killer, but come to find out it's a couple kids, because I guess it is actually Halloween. So that's funny. She starts beating up a bunch of trick-or-treaters. Oh, and then before that, we had the Prince gag. He's black and he'll kick your ass. I thought you didn't have a boyfriend. That's when she says he's black and he'll kick your ass. He's like, is it the one who wears makeup and dresses like a woman? And then he looks outside and it's fucking Prince. It's just like, what the fuck? And then, we get the chase scene. He's like, hello, Drew. And she grabbed, because there's like a couple of weapons. There's like a knife, there's a grenade. And then she ends up grabbing a banana, because there's a banana thing. And then I love when she gets outside. Way to safety, death. She ends up going to the death side. She falls and trips, and you have like the body imprint. This whole gag was perfect. And then, the killer catches up to her, and then he pulls off her fucking shirt and clothes, and she's in her bikini. And then, because her sprinkler's going off, she runs through the water and does a model pose. And you have like this music that's like model pose music. And then he catches up to her again, like in the original, where he stabs her, but instead of pulling, like stabbing her normally, he pulls out a breast implant. It's fucking, and he's like, ugh. When he tries to pull it off, he's just like, ugh. He drops it. And then she gets to the road, but she gets hit by the car, because the car is her parents. And it's her dad getting a blowjob from the mom. Nothing, honey. He just puts her head back down. And then, yeah, he kills her, like in the original. And then we meet Cindy Campbell, so, like in the original scene, which I love her name, Cindy Campbell, by the way, because Nev Campbell. Yeah. But so like in the original Scream, I really love that they captured, like, they did it like the original. Billy, or this time it's Bobby, walks through, and then her dad comes in. We find out her dad's like a drug dealer. It's that, it may have been that crack I smoked earlier. It's just like when he heard screaming. And then he's like going out of town, and he's like, not baking powder. I gotta dip, because she mentions Uncle Escobar, which is Pablo Escobar. Like, her dad is like, there's so many funny, like, side, like the dad. I find him funny. He's not in the movie a lot, like in the original. Then yeah, well, not in the original, but like the actual Scream movie. But I really love his character, that when you do see him through, and I recognize that actor who plays him too. But yeah, then you have the conversation with Billy. He mentions Exorcist, and she's like, if this is about the time I used a crucifix for, like, basically fingered herself with a crucifix and puke greets live, it's like, bro. It's like, Jesus. So they kiss, and then when he gets to, she has a fucking electrical cage on her. It's like, what the fuck? And then they start playing, I don't, like I'll just say it, because fucking, I can't think of his name right. It's James something. But he was an actor, because they play that one song that's from that show. I can't think of the show's name. It's very dramatic, and he's like rock set. Because they start playing that music, because it's from that show he's in. That was like big at the time, and I think that's the theme for the show. He's like rock set. James Vanderbeek. I couldn't think of the last name. He's also he also had a cameo in Jay and Silent Bob. Yeah, James Vanderbeek. I can't think of the show he was in. I still can't think of the show name. But yeah, so he leaves, and then like in the actual Scream movie, Cindy shows her boobs, flashes her boobs, but it's a dude's chest. Bobby just falls. So we get to the next morning. She gets to school. We kind of meet the group. We meet Regina Hall, who, she's fucking great in these movies. And then so Shannon Elizabeth's character's name is Buffy, and if you remember, because she's also she's like, in a way, it's like she's a mix. She's kind of like Tatum, but she's also Helen from I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is Sarah Michelle Gellar, and I think they name her Buffy because Sarah Michelle Gellar was Buffy at the time. So I love that little gag. And then, yeah, we get a fucking Puff Daddy joke, a P. Diddy joke, a Diddy party joke in 2000. So, damn, that goes back that far. When we get a gag, because Buffy's putting makeup on, and Cindy mentions, like, that it's makeup that they use on animals. He's like, and then Buffy's like, oh, I care about my fellow man, and then a homeless dude asks her for money. Buffy's like, get away from me, you bum. It's so good. And then Cindy gives him a sandwich. He's like, the homeless guy, I said $1, bitch. And he throws it. It's so good. This is also where you meet Shorty, and he's getting an interview from Gail Hellstorm. Or before that, she's doing the interview like in the first Scream. But the guy's like, it's like one of the high school kids keeps getting into the shot, and then fucking Gail's like, that's it, shoots him. And then it cuts to different like news reporters, and it cuts to the black TV. He's like, reporting for Black TV, we're gonna get our black ass out of here. We meet Ray, and I'll just say Buffy's boyfriend. And then, yeah, this is like, does this shirt make me look gay? And he's like, nah, man. How about now? And he says, nah, again. It's just like, and it's like clearly the gayest shit ever. So good. And then, yeah, we get the scene at the fountain where they talk about like the killing and how they mentioned how about and Cindy mentions like how when we killed that guy, and then that's when we get the cutaway scene. We get the flashback of the accident, and I love how it does look like I Know What You Did Last Summer. They're in the car. You got Ray and her and Regina hooking up, and then you got Buffy and her boyfriend hooking up, and then Bobby's like, why can't we do what they're doing? You know, because the whole gag is that Cindy's a virgin, basically. And then I think Buffy's boyfriend's like, I love when you play with my ass. And then he's like, I'm not playing with your ass. Buffy's like, I'm not playing with your ass. And he's like, Ray. And Ray's like, my bad. And you hear the suction sound. It's like, oh my God. That suction sound always gets me. It's a perfect suction. It's like, bro. And then yeah, Bobby's boy was like, okay, play some music, and then Ray's like, gives him a tape, and then Bobby puts it in his fucking Raining Men, and he starts singing it, and they're all like looking at him like, what the fuck? And then yeah, he switches to the radio, and then like yeah, the couples are hooking up in the back. Buffy's boyfriend pulls off her like normal like kind of thought underwear, and then Ray's pulling off Regina's fucking underwear, and it's like fucking grandma fucking underwear. And she's like, it's laundry day. Yeah, like in the movie, right? Like when Ryan Phillippe stands up on the window out of the top of the car. He ends up hitting a tree, and then like a fucking bees get on his head, and then also which makes him drop the bottle, and then hit Cindy, and then because Bobby showed Cindy his dick. He's like, just touch it, just touch it, and then yeah, he hits her, and then she is like, and that's what I'm talking about. They end up hitting a cow, and then also hit the dude, right, like in the original, and then they stop, and then Bobby's like, we hit a boot. So good. And they're talking about getting rid of the body because the guy actually starts getting, he's like, not necessary. I'm wanting to leave now. Not necessary when he says it. And they end up getting rid of the alcohol, and they throw it, and he ends up getting hit with it, so he gets knocked out. And then Buffy's boyfriend's like, you know what they do to men in prison? Because initially Ray was against going to prison, or calling the police, right? And then initially he switched to Cindy, maybe we should call the police. So they get the body, kind of stuff into the car. Shorty shows up, and he's like, all the ingredients to make a high nigga pie. He's like, because Regina Hall's his sister. He's like, fucking, so he leaves. So yeah, they dump the body, kind of like in the original movie. And then Buffy's like, what do you think, Cindy? We're in a horror movie? And then Cindy's like, oh yeah, they cast some dingbat like Jennifer Love Huge Tits to play me. So they make a little, like even their boyfriend's like, makes it go, oh, they'll get like 20-year-olds to play us. Like, I love the little inside jokes. And then yeah, this is where we meet Doofy. I was like, man, because Gail's trying to get a scoop from all the cops. The other cop's like, no comment. And then she goes up to Doofy. He's like, and then she mentions that she doesn't swallow. And then, yeah, they hook up in the car. And then this is also where you meet the chief, who was played by, I can't think of the actor's name, but he's in a lot of stuff. He played Zachariah in Supernatural. He was in Ghostbusters. He was in, I think he's in something else, too. Like, he's in a lot of movies. But yeah, he's the sheriff. He's like the weird sheriff in this. He's just making sex jokes to Cindy. But they're talking about Casey. Like, what was she like in bed, Cindy? Oh, then yeah, Doofy shits himself. It's like he's like, I went poopy. And then the sheriff's like, you said you went poopy? He's like, get him out of here. Oh, man. It's so good, the first Scary Movie, man. It's like, I think I'm gonna jump ahead because I don't really think much happens next. Actually, no, no. Buffy's boyfriend. If you remember in I Know What You Did Last Summer, Ryan and Philippe goes to like a gym and he like hits a heavy bag. They kind of do that, but instead he's at the. This is after practice, and he got Ray just literally like smacking everybody's ass, and he's like, and he hits the last guy's like, nice ass, and then he's like chasing him into his shower because he's like happy about showering with the men. That's the whole gag. And then, yeah, so he hits the heavy bag. And then, like, I love the last one, the heavy bag just hits him in the face. And then he gets the picture, kind of like in the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, where he gets the picture and it's like his car, but in this, it's like it said, I know. And this is like, I know, and it's his micro dick. It's. And the guy's just like going off. He's just going like, having a small dick is a disability, man. Like, he's just, like, defending himself having a small dick. I love it. And then, yeah, because he think Ray did it, because it was in the locker room. He's like, Ray, you're a dead man. He's like, and then Ray's like, you want to get butt naked and wrestle? Then bring it on there. It's just like, the way he starts smacking, he's, like, swiping like this. It's like... and then, for some reason, Ray's boyfriend decides to show everybody his small dick. I don't know why he showed the photo. And... Because, I think I did skip one scene. There was a scene where Cindy got a letter. And then this is actually the one scene where you actually see the actual ghost face mask from Scream. Not the mock-up they kind of used for this movie. There's a scene. And it's kind of a little callback to Halloween also. Because you remember Michael's there, she's looking, and then he's there, and then he's gone. So it's kind of like that, too. She's looking out the window. And then she sees the killer. And he pulls out a hook, but it's like the killer, but it's like the actual ghost face mask. And then she gets a letter, and it's like, I know what you did last Halloween. And then it's initially, she's remembering her and Bobby having like a little picnic, and he's like shoving a wiener down her mouth, and he keeps like doing it over and over again. And then she reads the letter, he's like, no, bitch, the guy you killed last year. So yeah, so now going back to that, to the scene at the fountain again. Cindy mentions to Buffy's boyfriend, she tries to tell him, oh, I got a letter too, maybe we should go to the police. If you go to the, and he like starts beating the shit out of her, because there's a scene earlier he was like strangling her in the flashback. In this, Bobby just stands by the way, does nothing. He's like, I'll kill you, my son. He starts like kicking the shit out of her. And then he does a backbreaker. I'm not kidding. He lifts her up and then does a backbreaker. He's like, then he like talks shit to the killer, but I'm not going to jail. Got that? And like Cindy's starting to get up. And he does a fucking elbow drop. It's like... And then yeah, we get the scene at the pageant, kind of like in the original I Know What You Did Last Summer, where Ray's boyfriend's watching Buffy, and her name on the thing is Miss Fellatio. It's like, what the fuck? And he's like, her boyfriend's like, that's my girlfriend, yeah. And then so many other guys like, that's my girlfriend too. And then he's like, apparently, so it's basically implied that she's basically a hoe hooking up with other dudes. And then like in the actual I Know What You Did Last Summer, where Ryan Philippe gets killed on the top. And Buffy's trying to do like an acting scene, and she's seeing it, and she's like actually reacting to there's a killer, and then everybody, oh, she's a good actress, she's doing really good. And then yeah, and then she runs to the back, and then it turns out she won. I think it's Rick. It may have been Rick or something like that. It may have been. Oh, okay, I remember it now. Greg. That's what his name was. Greg. So yeah, Greg ends up getting killed. And Buffy initially is like all sad, and then she finds out she won, and she's just like, I don't give. And then Buffy's like, what about Greg? Well, she's like, fuck Greg, and he's like, move, you loser. And she's like, give me my crown, bitch. And and the song they play is like wild. It's like, what the fuck. And then I love when a lady throws a vase at her, as she falls. So then we're back at Cindy's house. She's in the shower, or not in the shower, but like in the bath. Gets a call from Bobby talking about Greg, and he wants to come over, but she says she can't. And then I love and then she gets a call from the killer. He says, I know what you did last Halloween. And she runs downstairs. And then I love the scene where the camera runs really close to her. And then she's like, ow. And then she's like, gives the cameraman this look like, you didn't have to hit me. So it's like she knows she's in a movie. I really love the first Scary Movie, man. It's just, the gags don't stop. Because she gets a call from the killer again. And then he's like, do you know where I am? And then he's like under a rug where you could clip. No, it was not under a rug. It was like behind a chair. But you could see his legs. And she's like, I can see your feet. He's like, damn it. And he's like, no peeking. Turn around. Tries to hide under like a carpet. And he's like, no, you'll still see me. Then he hides like behind like a curtain. But the hook is still hanging. Do you see me now? And she's like, no. And then he pops out. We get the chase scene like in the first movie. But I love when she goes up the stairs. She throws the grandma down the stairs. Then pushes down like a giant like cabinet. And the killer just starts running and then ends up hitting the grandma. And then she runs to her room. Calls the cops through her computer. Kind of like in the first Scream. But I love that she says, white woman in trouble. And the cops are instantly there. And then, yeah, you get the gag like in the first Scream where Cindy runs to the door and it's Doofy holding the mask in front of his face. Then we're just pretty much at the police station. Like, it plays out pretty much like the first Scream. They think Bobby's the killer. And then there's a gag with Doofy where they smell my finger, and the guy's like, because like one of his fellow officers like, smell my finger, and he's like, that's a smell of pussy. And he's like, smell mine. He's like, and my hand is in my ass. It's just like, what the fuck, man? Why did you do it like that? And then this is where it's mentioned that he puts his dick in a vacuum cleaner because he's trying to have Buffy leave. And then she's like, that's when she mentions it. Then they get outside. This is like the only scene, by the way, where Gail and Cindy have a scene. They don't interact pretty much for the rest of the movie. So that's the only thing that's different from the first Scream. This is the only interaction where you get the scene where she punches her. Oh, before that, I love the little gag with Gail where the guy's like, you're my foot, fat shit! Like, and then, yeah, it's the scene where she gets punched. Because Gail's like, your ass looks fat to Cindy. And then Cindy's like, bitch! And punches. And then he's like, who copped the feel? He's like, it was just the top of the, and like her cameraman was just the top of the breast. And he was like, talking about how good it was. Yeah. Then, kind of like in Scream with Sydney talking to Tatum about Billy being the killer. You kind of get that with Bobby. And then she mentions, oh, Bobby was good in bed. She's like, what? Nothing. And then, yeah, Buffy flat out this retarded retard heard our conversation because he mentions about the guy she killed last year. It's like, he's like, this retarded retard overheard. It's like, god damn, I actually missed this when he could just say retard like that. Then she gets a call, you got the wrong guy. And then Doofy runs out and he has the vacuum. And you know what he's doing. You still mention me when he in my room. Oh, man. I'm just going to cut to the Miss Man scene because that's pretty much the next sequence, really. Oh, no. The next scene is the what's up scene. The killer calls Short. He's like, what are you doing? He's like, just chilling, smoking a bowl. And then the guy walks in, what's up? And he says, what's up? He's like, what's that? And then, Shorty mentions it to him, and then the killer starts doing it. And he's, Duque, pick up the phone. What's that? And then the tongue. You get the iconic scene where the tongue. And then Shorty's like, what you doing, son? Just chilling. Kill it. And he drinks like a 40. That's what we're pretty much at the Miss Man scene, because Cindy is in the locker room. This is where you see Miss Man, and it's clearly a dude. They could not. I really hope the next new one has a gag like this. I don't think they would, but I really hope, because this shit was funny. And then, Buffy. This is, for some reason, Buffy starts kind of picking on Cindy, even though they were friends earlier. Then Cindy goes to Miss Man about, like, having and then he's like, we all have secrets, and then Miss Man spreads her legs, and and you see his balls pop out. It's, like, wild. It's one of the wildest scenes in the movie. It's like, holy shit, they actually did this shit. And then she tries to, the balls are like near Cindy, and then that's when Cindy runs off, and then this is where we get Buffy's death. And then the killer shows up, and it's Buffy, kind of like, so it's a little bit of like the riff on it's, even though it's not the Tatum kill like with the garage, because they still do have that, it just is with the random character. But they basically do the similar lines where she's like, do you want to, hello, Mr. Gates, you want to play Psycho Killer? You kind of have that little gag in the movie. And then she's just overselling it, and then because he stabs her, and he's like, I'm bleeding," and the Ghostface is just like, "What the fuck?" And this is where I fall and break my leg. She like snaps her own fucking leg, and when she's like, "I'm running," and she's like running and play in a circle. Ghostface is like, he's just confused. Ghostface himself, like when he's in the suit, is a character too. He is fucking funny in this. And then this is where I fall and break my leg, and she like snaps her own leg, and I'm like, fucking A. Ghostface is like, what the fuck? And then he's like, and then she mentions the climax. This is the part where I fake, and then Ghostface gets a cleaver, chops her head off, and then she's still talking shit. He's like, and he hits the cleaver. He's like, what the fuck? Why isn't she dying? And then he drops her head and just into the trash can, and she's still like talking shit. Oh, shit. And that's when we get the "what are you waiting for" scene. Actually, no, before that. Cindy mentions she's going to have a party to Shorty. And he's like, "Party at Cindy's house. Drunk white women for everybody." And then she mentions to Ray about, like, Bobby. He's like, "I'll tell him I love him." Because she said to him, "Can you tell Bobby I tell him I love him?" He's like, and then he said, "I'll tell him I love him." And then, she runs into Bobby. And he's like, she knows it's not him. And then you see this dude who's with him. He's like, "You're the best." As a kid, I truly never understood the context of that. I get it now. Because clearly you know what happens in prisons. If you know what happens in prisons, it's a joke on that. And I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, what the fuck? I never got that until... And then, kind of like in the original Scream, you gotta get over it, baby. You gotta move on. And you think it's like about her mom. No, it's about, but Ginger was such a big part of the Spice Girls. It's all about Ginger leaving the Spice Girls. And then she does like the run, but it's like a little bit more ridiculous in the movie, which that's the one thing in that this movie kind of does ruin for me in the first Scream. Sydney's run when she runs off from Billy. I'm not gonna lie. I only see the way Cindy runs now in this. It's and then she like has her hands up while she's running. But this is where we get the scene, the "what are you waiting for, huh?" And, kind of like in the original, the killer's waiting for it. But the only difference is at the school. While this is happening, the principal is threatening to kind of basically jump and kill himself. And the people are like, "Oh, come down from there." He's like, "I'm tired of these shithead kids." And then this is where Cindy's like, "What are you waiting for, huh?" And then she does like the same pose as Jennifer Love Hewitt did in I Know What You Did Last Summer. And then the fucking principal's like, "What am I waiting for?" And then he's like, "Fuck you." And then Cindy's just like, Oh man. Then I'm pretty sure the next scene is Gail at like some it's like some kind of cliffside like where the kids hang out, and she runs into oh, there's a lady earlier. This is the scene where Cindy saw Ghostface outside. The other gag with the teacher. He was like, "This is where we need prayer in school," and the fucking teacher's breastfeeding in class and gives the student to her daddy, which is one of the students. And she's like, "I'll see the other one," and he's like, and then to the other guy next to him, he's like, "I'll see you after class." And then there was this kind of nerdy girl you saw earlier who's like really wanted to raise her hand, and this is where you get the "shut the fuck up," and then she pushes her. The teacher pushes her because she went on too long. So you see that same girl, um, uh, chilling in her car, and Gail's like interviewing. She mentions her boyfriend when like, and then she's like, "Oh, your boyfriend may have been murdered." And then she's like recording with her getting killed. And then Ghostface's like, "I'm just trying to do my job. Get this camera off me." And he chases her, and then we get like a Blair Witch kind of scene where you see from Gail's perspective, and you see like snot going down. I always thought that scene was kind of gross, but yeah. And this is where pretty much we're at the party. So we're at Cindy's house, and she's having a party. She's initially like, "Oh, don't touch that, don't touch that," but obviously she gets drunker later. So we get the scene in Scream where it's with the garage, but it's with the random girl, because the girl decides to go get beer from the garage, and it's like this fat chick. And she tries to get the garage, and then she hears a noise, and initially it's like a cat, kind of like in the original Scream, and then she hears it again, and then it's a horse, and you just see a horse. Like, what the fuck, is there a horse? And then, yeah, it's the killer. And then she tries to, like, dodge him. And then she tries to get into the fucking hole like Tatum did in Scream, but clearly and the Ghostface is like, "What the fuck are you doing, bitch? What are you doing?" And then he just presses the garage, lifts her up, and then because she's too fat, it's too heavy, so it just all drops on her. It's like, I hope they do even something like that. I'm not saying they couldn't do it, but I feel like they'd be too scared to, because you can't make fun of fat people these days. Then we see Shorty smoking with his boys, and then the killer walks in. Well, initially they like, "What could we use to make a bowl?" So they start smoking out of a fish bowl, or like a fish tank. This was a whole fish tank. And that's when Ghostface walks in. They're like, "Shit!" And then you see Ghostface, tote. That is some good shit. This is when Bobby shows up, and she talks to drunk Cindy, and you get the scene where they're upstairs, and they pretty much say the same lines like when Billy was up the stairs with Sydney in Scream. And then he mentions, "Life's like a movie." He's like, "This isn't a movie, Bobby." And then she's like, there's the cameraman, there's the director, like all these people, and they cut to the people. No, oh no. And then yeah, they start hooking up, and you get the gag where he's like trying to get her to suck his dick, and he's like, "Chew it like a Tootsie Pop," and then she bites it. It's like, oh no. And then there's even another gag where he tries to pull like her pants down, and you just see like a bunch of fucking hair. Like, pubic hair. It's like, bro. And then he cuts it like he's with like this, like what they use to cut like grass and shit. And he even has like goggles on. It's like, so I'm just gonna cut to it and then she starts dominating. What's my name, Bobby? And she's like slapping him, and she's like going full dominatrix. And then when he like ejaculates, it's like a whole fucking fountain. He like even starts shrinking. It's so like shriveling up. It's funny as fuck. And then, kind of like in the original Scream, we cut to Cindy and because I think, yeah, Gail never comes back. Well, not until the very end. Because you don't see Gail Hallstorm for the rest of the movie. But we see Cindy and Bobby after sex. And he mentions to her that Bobby and Greg are dead, and that or Greg and Buffy are dead. And he's like, I guess she didn't know. He's like, I thought you knew. And that's when Ghostface appears, stabs Bobby, chases Cindy down the stairs. We get a little chase, kind of like in the original Scream. But, then... Oh, we get a scene of Ghostface rapping, and then he ends up killing all the guys, because he's, like, swinging his knife around. So he ends up killing most of, I think, pretty much all of Shorty's friends, and Shorty's like, that was the illest beat, son, and they give, like, a dap. It's like, even though everybody's dead. And then, yeah, this is where we get the reveal with Bobby being the killer, because she runs in, kind of like in the original Scream, and he's like, oh, give me the gun. Corn syrup. And then, yeah, she ends up shooting Shorty, and then Shorty's like, it's just smoke coming out. And then that's when we get the kid. Oh, I missed a whole sequence. There was the scene with Regina Hall and Ray at the theater, which is a riff on Scream 2. And he goes to the bathroom, and she's being, like, really loud, by the way. And that's the whole gag. And he goes to the bathroom, and you see, like, the piss races where they're, like, pissing, and there's, like, this game going on, which it's just like, what the fuck? He goes to the bathroom, and then the guy's making noises, and then sticks his, like, instead of the knife, like in Scream 2, it was his dick. It was the guy's dick through the ear. It's like, you actually see it come out through. It's like, what the fuck, bro? So that's what happened to Ray. And then we're back in the theater. The killer comes back, and he's dressed as Ray. And she's just being really loud. And she's like, you want candid camera now. And then she, like, admits, and then her friend calls, and she saw on the phone, and the guy, like, people had it, like, can you shut your trap? And then the other lady's like, shut up. And then she admits like, basically spoils the ending because there's Romeo and Juliet. And then she's like, Shakespeare. She says Shakespeare. And then the one of the guys, because the killer's about to, stab her. And then the guy's like, give me that. Starts stabbing her. And then he's like, and then the lady high fives him. And then and the other guy's like, will you sit down? And the old lady's like, your ass is grass. And then she starts getting hit by everybody. This is for Jackie Chan movies. I think Boogie Nights was mentioned. And then the cop's like, Big Mama's house. And then she does, like, the death, like, in the movie, in Scream 2. And then everybody's, like, cheering, and then they just all get back watching the movie. So this was the scene before the party. So now back to the reveal. So they reveal that the killer, he's like, we're parodying a killer that already exists. That's what Bobby's like, yeah, that's right, Cindy, I'm gay, and as easy, so is Ray. And Ray's like, I ain't gay, but you made love to me. No, you sucked my dick. He's like, you took me shopping. I like shopping. He's like, you took me to that club. I like good music. Because I love that whole review. That's when you get but you made love to me. No, you sucked my dick. And that's when they pull out her dad, and her dad has, like, a ball gag in his mouth, and his pants are... It's like, what the fuck? And that's when you get, like, the scene... And I love that they kind of did the switch, because you know how Billy was more the leader in the original Scream? And it was... Because you would think it's, like, Ray... Because Ray was basically a student. He's like, this one's a screamer. And he's, like, spitting. And that's when you get the scene where they stab each other. And Bobby's, like, all scared at first, and then he finally does it. And then he's like, you watch one too many TV shows. That's what Cindy says. And Ray's like, watching TV shows doesn't make you a psycho. Canceling TV shows doesn't. And he mentions the Wayans Brothers show. It's like, Wayans Brothers was such a good show, man. We didn't even get a final episode. Because I think it had just gotten canceled that year. So that was fucking hilarious that they were able to get that joke in there. He's like, no one's killing me. And then that's when the real killer shows up. And then we get a little fight scene between the killer and Cindy. And then this is where you get a little bit of a play on the Matrix. As the killer does the Neo thing, but he ends up breaking his back. And then Cindy does like I think it's like the Trinity kick where she does like that jump up and then kicks. And then the police show up. And then the dad's like, oh, they planted all these drugs. Like, that was basically incriminating himself. And then, yeah, they go to the police station. And, we get the scene, where they realize that Doofy's the killer. Kind of like Usual Suspects, where they drop the glass, and they did it like a million times, like parody, Usual Suspects. And then you get kind of like that similar ending where you see Doofy pulling off the mustache, and then hold on, I'm just charging my phone really quick. Okay, there you go. Anyway, so you get that scene where they're riffing on Usual Suspects. He gets in the car, and you get like this song playing. He drives off, and he drops the bag, and that's where the sheriff and Cindy catch up, and in the car with him is Gail. So this is pretty much her last shot of Gail. He drives off, and then they find the bag, which has the ghost face mask, the knife, and the voice changer, and then Cindy's like, no, and the sheriff walks away, and then she just gets hit by a car. It's just like, what the fuck? But yeah, man, the first Scary Movie is just such... I rewatch this all the fucking time. I feel like you can watch it on Halloween, because it is kind of a Halloween movie, because they mention it's set during Halloween. You just don't get a lot of Halloween decorations, but you can watch this around Halloween time, but you can also watch it any time of the year. It's a funny fucking movie. I love the references they do, but I love that they don't overdo the references. I love how they were able to recreate, like, Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and I did it perfectly. I thought all the characters were funny. Literally every character that's in the film, I really felt like had a moment to be funny. And Anna Faris is just, her comedic timing in these movies is perfect. She's good in all of them. Well, the first 4 she's in. She's not in 5. But yeah, I really like her character. I like everybody's character. The Miss Mancy is probably my favorite sequence in the whole movie. That shit is hilarious. It's just, I watch this all the time, so that's really all I can say. I definitely recommend the first Scary Movie. I might even just watch it again just for the fuck of it, because it's just that good. So, anyways, guys, that's all I could really say. I think it's probably one of my favorite. It's probably the best parody movie. You know, unfortunately, we started getting a lot of really bad clones, especially in the later 2000s, like Date Movie, Epic Movie, fucking Disaster Movie. Like, ugh. There were some okay ones, like I said. I enjoy superhero movie. It's dumb as fuck, but superhero movie because you have Leslie Nielsen, also Christopher McDonald, Shooter McGavin's in it. He basically plays the Green. And I thought they did a decent job of parodying the first Spider-Man a little bit with, like, you got the Batman Begins kind of gag with his parents dying, kind of like in Batman Begins. But outside of that, and then I even like Meet the Spartans, same deal. It is dumb as fuck, but I find myself enjoying Meet the Spartans. But outside of those two, yeah, there's a lot of those later parody movies are just shit. So, because I think they started missing the point, and it started just becoming references instead of its own movie. Like, yeah, it was a parody of another movie, but I felt like they did a good job of still being its own movie. You know, whereas I feel like a lot of those later parody movies just were not. They were just gags. It was like a series of gags instead of a movie. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with having gags, but I still feel like there needs to be a semblance of a plot. Because at that point, I'm just watching a sketch show that's basically supposed to be a movie. But anyways, guys, that's pretty much it. For a Scary Movie, I would give it a 9.5 out of 10, especially as a comedy. It's borderline a 10, to be honest, if I'm rating it as a comedy. But other than that, subscribe to Pin Down Podcast. We are going to be live tonight watching SmackDown and Worlds Collide, so it's going to probably be a long stream again tonight. So check that out. We should also be live tomorrow for our normal Saturday stream. Also subscribe to Cowman Reviews. We are going to be reviewing the second Happy Gilmore this week. So look out for that. And like I said, I might do if I do a video this week, it's gonna be like this weekend. It'll probably be like a discussion video. It won't be a review. But other than that, I'm pretty much gonna wrap it up here. But yeah, guys, like I said, subscribe to Pin Down, subscribe to Cowman Reviews. But anyways, I'll talk to y'all later.